smaller you are, the better your chances. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful today. The smaller you are, the better your chances. Now, that might sound strange in a world that celebrates bigness, big titles, big bank accounts, big platforms, big recognition. But greatness doesn't always start with size. It starts with smallness. Because the smaller you are, the more room there is for growth. Think about it. The tallest oak tree began as a seed. The most successful empire began as an idea. The greatest leaders once stood in obscurity. Small is not insignificant. Small is strategic. See, the problem is most people despise small beginnings. They want the spotlight before they're ready. They want the crown without the cross. But when you embrace being small, when you embrace the hidden stage, you're actually preparing for expansion that others won't even see coming. The smaller you are, the more flexible you are. You can move, adapt, and learn without the weight of ego holding you back. You can take risks without fear of losing it all because you don't have it all yet. The smaller you are, the hungrier you are, and hunger is the fuel of destiny. When you're small, every opportunity matters, every lesson matters, every connection matters. Nothing is beneath you because you know everything is preparing you. And the smaller you are, the closer you are to the ground. That means you're rooted humble and not so high up that you can't hear the whispers of wisdom that will carry you higher. So don't despise being small. Don't complain about where you are. Don't wish you were further ahead. The smaller you are, the better your chances because your foundation is being built for something massive. Most people think success is about being seen. They want the stage, the spotlight, and the recognition. They believe that visibility equals value and that the bigger the platform, the more powerful the person. But let me give you a truth that can change the way you look at your journey. Small is strategic. Growth does not begin when the lights are on you. Growth begins in obscurity when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, and when no one is even paying attention. The mistake many people make is they despise their small beginnings. They compare their starting point with someone else's middle or someone else's finish line. They feel behind because they are measuring their preparation against another person's presentation. But what they fail to realize is that greatness is never born on the stage. Greatness is always born in the shadows. Think about it. A seed must be buried before it becomes a tree. Buried, unseen, hidden beneath the soil where no one is clapping and no one is cheering. Yet, while hidden, something powerful is happening beneath the surface. The seed is germinating. Roots are forming. Structure is being built in silence. And when the time is right, the small becomes visible, the hidden becomes revealed, and what once seemed insignificant now stands tall as undeniable. That's the power of obscurity. That's the strategy of starting small. When you are small, you have freedom that you won't have later. You can experiment, you can fail forward, you can adjust without the world watching your every move. Small is the training ground for wisdom. It's the place where you can make mistakes cheaply. Because here's the truth, failure is far less expensive when you are unknown than when you are established. When you are small, you learn lessons that platforms can't teach you. You learn to manage little before you manage much. You learn to be faithful in small tasks, and that faithfulness builds the credibility and discipline you will need when larger opportunities come. The problem with starting big is that it can collapse big. But starting small allows you to build brick by brick, layer by layer, until the foundation beneath you is unshakable. Obscurity is not punishment, it's preparation. When no one knows your name, you are free to discover who you really are. You are not bound by the pressure or expectation. You are not trapped by the weight of performance. You are in the incubator of purpose, being formed, molded, and shaped for something greater than you can currently imagine. The irony is that everyone wants the spotlight, but the spotlight is blinding if you have not trained your eyes in the dark. The stage exposes both your strengths and your weaknesses. If you arrive too early, your weaknesses will sabotage your success. But when you embrace the season of smallness, you are sharpening, strengthening, and securing the areas of your life that will sustain you later. Let me put it plainly. What you do in private will always determine what you can handle in public. That's why the small C's are strategic. They test your character. They test your discipline. They test your ability to handle rejection, failure, and correction. They test whether you can keep showing up when no one is clapping, whether you can keep pushing when no one is paying attention, whether you can keep giving your best when it feels like no one even notices. And let me assure you, nothing is wasted. The late nights, the unseen work, the sacrifices that nobody applauds, the tears that nobody sees, those are investments, not losses. They are deposits in the account of destiny that will pay you back with interest when the time is right. So if you feel small right now, if you feel like your efforts are hidden and your work is overlooked, don't despise that season. Celebrate it. Because small is not insignificant. Small is strategic. The very fact that you are hidden means you are being developed. The very fact that no one is clapping yet means you are free to focus on building without distraction. The very fact that you are not seen now means you are being prepared for when you will be seen later. Growth does not start in the spotlight. Growth starts in obscurity. It is the obscurity that builds your resilience, your endurance, your humility, and your faith. And when the time comes for you to step onto the stage, you will not just arrive, you will be ready. You will be prepared. You will be unshackable. So remember this, never curse the season of being small. Never despise the days when nobody knows your name, because those are not wasted days. They're the most important days. Small is not your limitation. Small is your strategy. Would you like me to expand the other two steps? Small creates hunger and small builds foundation. In the same 700-word Myron style way, so you can have a full-length 3-part motivational keynote speech. Hunger is one of the most powerful forces on the planet. Hunger will drive you to places that comfort never will. Hunger will make you do things that convenience never requires. And the truth is this, when you are small, when you don't have much, when the resources are limited, when the recognition is missing, when the opportunities seem scarce, that is the moment hunger is birthed inside you. Hunger is not created in abundance. Hunger is created in lack. Hunger is created in smallness. When you have less, You don't have the luxury of wasting time. You don't have the option of being lazy. You don't have the privilege of being careless. Every moment matters. Every opportunity counts. Every connection could be the door that changes everything. That's what smallness does. It makes you hungry. It awakens something inside of you that refuses to settle for average, refuses to live beneath your potential, and refuses to waste the days you've been given. See, when you have everything handed to you, hunger dies. Comfort is the enemy of growth. People who start big often lose the very fire that created the opportunity in the first place. They get comfortable, complacent, and careless. But the person who starts small, that person knows the value of every dollar, every lesson, every chance to show up. They understand that they cannot afford to take things lightly, and that very understanding becomes their advantage. Smallness creates learners. When you are small, you know you don't know everything. That humility opens your ears to wisdom. You study harder, you ask more questions, you watch more closely, and you soak up every piece of knowledge you can get your hands on. Why? Because you know that knowledge is leverage. Every bit of wisdom you acquire is a step closer to the future you are building. Hunger makes you teachable. Hunger keeps you growing. When you are small, you see possibilities in places others ignore. You recognize opportunities that those with abundance overlook. Someone else may see a dead end, but your hunger sees a detour. Someone else may see a closed door, but your hunger sees a window. Because when you don't have much, your imagination works overtime. You begin to see creative solutions, hidden resources, and ways to make something out of nothing. Hunger produces innovation. Let me make this plain. The difference between someone who succeeds and someone who fails is rarely talent. It is hunger. It is the refusal to quit. It is the determination to keep pressing when others walk away. Hunger will make you read when others watch television. Hunger will make you practice when others sleep. Hunger will make you work 2 jobs while still building your dream on the side. Hunger will drive you to maximize every ounce of energy, every second of time, and every bit of opportunity that comes your way. Don't despise the season when you have little. Don't resent the time when resources are scarce, because that very lack is what makes you resourceful. That very emptiness is what makes you creative. That very hunger is what builds the drive and the discipline that will later sustain you when success arrives. The challenge is that many people see smallness as a disadvantage, but in reality, it is an advantage. It forces you to fight harder, reach further, and stretch beyond your comfort zone. The truth is, the hungriest people are the ones who change the world. They are the ones who refuse to let limitations stop them. They are the ones who maximize what others overlooked. They are the ones who refuse to settle for crumbs when they knew a feast was waiting if they would just keep moving. So, if you feel small right now, if you feel like you don't have enough resources, enough connections, enough support, don't get discouraged. Recognize that you are being equipped with something far more valuable: hunger. And that hunger will push you to become more, to learn more, and to achieve more than you ever thought possible. Small creates hunger, and hunger creates greatness. The less you have, the more you strive. The more you strive, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the greater the future you're preparing for. Never curse the lack, never despise the little, because it is the very thing shaping the fire inside of you. And when the time comes that abundance finally arrives, you will not only know how to handle it, you will appreciate it, maximize it, and multiply it. Why? Because you were hungry enough to fight for it when you had nothing. And that hunger will never leave you. Do you also want me to expand the final step, small builds foundation, in the same 700-word keynote style, so the 3 parts flow like a complete motivational speech? Every structure that stands tall is only as strong as the foundation beneath it. Skyscrapers don't begin in the sky, they begin in the ground. The deeper the foundation, the higher the building can rise. And in the same way, your life, your business, your calling, whatever you are building, must first be rooted deep before it can ever rise high. That is why starting small is not a setback, it is a setup. Small builds foundation. When you begin at the bottom, when you start with less, when you feel like you are buried under the weight of obscurity, you are actually being planted, not buried. The difference between being buried and being planted is expectation. Buried things are forgotten, planted things are prepared. And when you start small, your roots are going deeper, your character is being formed, your endurance is being strengthened, and your identity is being solidified. The problem with starting big is that what goes up fast often comes down just as fast. Without the roots of discipline, patience, and wisdom, success becomes temporary. We've all seen it. People who rise quickly because of talent, opportunity, or connections, but collapse because their foundation could not handle the weight of their success. They had height, but no depth. They had exposure, but no roots. And without roots, the first storm will topple everything they built. But when you start small, you are forced to build slow. You are forced to pay attention to details that others rush past. You are forced to learn lessons that will matter later, even if they don't feel important right now. Every mistake becomes a brick in your foundation. Every failure becomes reinforcement for your structure. Every test becomes a layer of strength that holds you steady for the future. Think of a tree. The taller the tree grows, the deeper its roots must stretch. Why? Because the higher you rise, the more resistance you face. Winds blow harder at the top. Pressure increases with elevation. And if your roots don't match your reach, the same wind that could have been your elevation becomes your destruction. That is why small beginnings matter. They allow you to dig deep before you climb high. When you are small, you learn to stand firm when no one is cheering. You learn to endure when no one is watching. You learn to persist when no one is applauding. And those lessons become the anchors that hold you steady when the spotlight finally shines on you. Small beginnings develop muscles that visibility cannot give you. They form resilience, humility, and consistency, qualities that cannot be bought, only built. Every great achievement rests on unseen foundations. The books you don't see someone reading, the hours you don't see them practicing, the sacrifices you don't see them making, that hidden work, that private discipline, that unseen preparation, that is the foundation. And the lower and stronger the foundation, the higher and longer the rise. Here's the danger. If you avoid the season of smallness, you rob yourself of the roots you need for greatness. If you try to skip the process, you forfeit the stability. A weak foundation can hold you for a moment, but it cannot sustain you for a lifetime. And greatness is not about moments, it's about legacy. So if you feel low right now, if you feel like you are just starting, if you feel like you are behind others who seem ahead of you, don't lose heart. You are not behind. You are underground. You are not losing time. You are laying foundation. And the deeper you go, the stronger you will stand when your season to rise comes. The beauty of foundation is that no one applauds it while it's being laid, but everyone depends on it once the structure is built. People may not see your struggle, your discipline, your late nights, and your sacrifices, but those very things are what will hold you up when the weight of success rests on your shoulders. Small builds foundation. The lower you start, the stronger your roots. The stronger your roots, the higher your potential rise. So don't despise the digging, don't resent the waiting, and don't curse the season of small beginnings. Because when the winds of life blow and the storms come, you won't just survive. You will stand tall, unshankable, and unstoppable. Do you want me to now weave all 3 expanded steps into one seamless keynote speech, about 200 words total, so it flows like a full motivational event message with an opening, transitions, and a closing call to action?